Hi everyone, my name is Scott Byington. I am Dean of Arts, Sciences and Advising at CCCC, as well as the co-chair for our QEP Implementation team. I want to thank you on behalf of the entire team for assisting with NSO and helping us at this really important time, the first implementation of our QEP. As you're probably aware, our QEP is called MAP, for My Academic Pathway. We know that students who start their college experience with defined goals, support, good academic advising, and clear academic pathways are much more likely to be successful in their college experience. And for many students, it starts with making a good program choice at the college initially, one that's consistent with their goals, with their interests, and their skills. Unfortunately, many students have never had a conversation about their career interests, nor whether those career interests really do match their skills and interests they have. In addition, many students don't understand that community colleges have a range of options from Con Ed all the way through associate degree, nor do they understand that we have lots of programs beyond the traditional ones. So it is important that we have a place in the process of a pathway of having a career conversation, and that's where you come in with our assistance with the NSO. What's going to happen at the NSO is students are going to take this assessment. This is called the REASIC assessment, and it's a career interest inventory. They will take this early in the day at NSO. They will have other conversations about the REASIC during NSO, and then at a certain point later in the day, they'll have a conversation with you about it. What they're going to do is, after they take the initial assessment, after they take this one, they're going to transpose those scores to this card that they will have with them. This card will have a score for 3, a score a score for realistic, a score for social, a score for investigative, etc. And they'll bring that card with you when they have a conversation with you about registering for their fall classes. What's going to happen when they show up is you're going to open up this document. This is the REASIC Summer 16 Pilot Data Sheet. Excuse me. It's going to be on Google Drive under the shared folders, and if you don't have access to this, you want to check with Jamie Stifler or you want to check with Aaron Mabe. They can give you access to it. Once you open this up, you're going to be having a conversation with a student and entering some data in here. We do need to enter some data and kind of capture this experience, but I want to stress this is an important time for you to talk with that student and have a conversation about their career interests and career goals. Initially, this sheet's going to just prompt you to put in certain information, put in their name, their student ID number, and the program that they have signed up for, the one they actually put on their application. If they happen to be university transfer, please also capture, if you will, what they may want to study. In this case, Fred Flintstone wants to study geology. The next screen will ask you to put in the scores. The student's going to have that card with them, and they're simply going to read you the scores, and you're going to put these in: realistic, investigative, artistic, etc. Pay special attention as you're doing this to the higher scores. What are their top 1 or 2 or 3 scores? This research is based upon the idea that people's highest scores usually indicate strong career areas of interest that would match their satisfaction in that career if they chose to study something in that area. So you will enter the data as you go through. Then you get to probably a very important screen, which is you're going to be asked to talk to the student about whether or not their interests on their card match the program they've selected, and you may find that they do. Let's say, let me go back a second, if a student selected something in agriculture sustainability and they actually had a very high score for realistic, that would indicate a really good match. And you may say, that's awesome, that really does affirm your choice. There are some other areas, some other programs you have at the college in that same area. Would you like to consider any of those? Would you like to look at any other options as well? Because perhaps they may not know that we have some other options in that field. If they go, I'm fine, I'm good, then fine, that's great. However, what if this happens? What if a student has a REASIC score that and an interest, or rather a program they've selected that really doesn't match? For example, let's say they want to be in cosmetology and their highest score by far was realistic. Well, that's not necessarily the greatest match, and it's important to point out to a student what we tend to find is people are happiest in careers that align with their interests. This cosmetology is not one that really does for you in this particular case. Would you like to consider some other options here instead? And if they say, well, yeah, you can then have a conversation about what some of the other options might be. If they say, no, I want to stick with my first program of study, that's fine. You don't have to change their minds. But we want to make sure they have the opportunity to understand how interests match people's usually career satisfaction. So if they wish to change programs, you can take them through that process. If they don't, go ahead and sign them up for classes. That's perfectly fine. So once you have done that, and I need to add, if you have somebody who really is quite conflicted, that this conversation has really got them really seriously thinking about what they want to do, then you may want to direct them to Mary Walker in our career counseling services area to see if she can do some more extensive testing with those students to help them figure out what might be a better fit for that particular person. So once you have walked students through that part of the process, you're essentially looking at a match between their program of study and their career interest. You have a couple more things we'd like you to note. One is just a confidence score. You'll be asked to ask them on a scale of 1 to 10, how confident are you about the program you selected? If you have anything that you would like to note, anything that was unusual about the conversation, anything that would help the QEP team in future assessments, feel free to note that. Then there's a section for office use only. You're asked to indicate if the student did change their programs. If they did, what did they change to? We really like to capture that as part of the process. And then enter your Datatel ID number so we know who handled that particular student's conversation. I do want to end with this idea. We want the students to understand that this is really just a step in their academic pathway. We looked at some initial career interest information, but their academic advisor really is central in developing the pathway with that student. So make sure that student understands that the academic pathway component doesn't stop with that conversation you had with them. It will continue in earnest with the advisor and also in their ACA courses. Finally, I'd like to add, if you have any comments or feedback about the process, about this QEP implementation, please direct those to either Aaron Mabe or Jamie Stifler or to me so we can continue to gather the data to best inform students about their career options to make sure that their academic pathway is perfect for them. Thank you very much, and we appreciate your help.